Lesson 87 starts on page 404, and it's about multiplying two-digit numbers, and it's the first of two lessons on doing this. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, I just did multiplication of two-digit numbers and some three-digit numbers back in lesson 86 when I did like 20 times 30. Well, the difference here is that you won't have zeros on the end. These won't be multiples of 10. They won't be rounded to the nearest 10 or to the nearest 100. There'll be two numbers, both of them with two non-zero digits in them. I think the best way to learn how to do these is just to do some practice problems. So look at practice problem A. 32 times 12. Okay, well what we do is basically two separate problems here. There's a 12 there, and there's a 2 in the ones place and a 1 in the tens place for that 12. Okay, so what we do is we multiply the 32 by the 2. Let's do that first. And let's just do that over to the side here. Okay, so that's the 2 that's in the ones place for the 12. And so we do 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, then we do the 1 in the tens place, and that's really a 10, right? That has a value of 10 since it's in the tens place. And so for that one, we do 32 times 10 for that 1. And so we know that that would just be 320, right? We just need to add a 0 on the end there, 320. Now we add 64 and 320. That's the final thing that we do. So let's just go ahead and do that. 0 plus 4 is 4, 6 plus 2 is 8, and then the 3. 384 is the answer to that problem. So what did we do there? Let's just think about the steps. Step 1, I have it up there at the top of the board. We multiplied the 1's value by the other factor. Step 2, we multiply the 10's value by the other factor. There's something important here. I didn't say the 10's digit. We don't just do the 1, we did 10, right? We did the value of it. So that's very important to remember. We multiply the 10's value by the other factor. And then step 3, it's multiplication, but we actually do addition as our final step. We add part 1 and part 2 together, and we get our result. So we know that we can write any number with its different place values, right? That's called expanded form. We learned about that way back in lesson 20. And we can write 12 as 10 plus 2. So that's really what we're doing, is we're doing 32 times 10 and then 32 times 2. It's the same thing as saying 32 times 12. Let's do another one, 37 times 24. Okay, so let's just do 37 times 4 first. We can do that over to the side. And we'd have 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2 over. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Now let's do 37 times 20. And so we can just write it like this. Remember how we wrote them like this with the 0 hanging off, and we just think 37 times 2. So 7 times 2 is 14, carry 1, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, add the 0. And so now we're doing 740 plus 148. So let's just write the 148 down here. Put a plus sign, do our addition. 8, 8, 8. That's equal to 888. That's what 37 times 24 is. Look at C. 13 times 29. Okay, now it doesn't matter how we write these problems. We can do 29 times 13 or 13 times 29. Order does not matter in multiplication, right? 3 times 2 is the same thing as 2 times 3. So it doesn't matter which number is on top. So let's do 13 times 9 first. That's our step 1, right? Multiply the 1's value, and we mean that 1's value in the bottom number when we have our multiplication set up vertically. So we do 13 times 9. 3 times 9 is 27. And so that would be 117. Now we do 13 times 20. And let's just do that in our head. 13 times 20. 13 times 2 is 26. So 13 times 20 would be 260. Whenever you can do these in your head, go ahead and do that, and it'll save you some time and some space on your paper as well. So 7 times 0 is 7, 1 times 6 is 7, 1 plus 6 is 7, 1 plus 2 is 3. 377 would be the answer to that problem. Let's go ahead and do one more. 28 times 14. Okay, first we need to multiply the 28 times 4. That's our ones value. So we do this multiplication. 8 times 4 is 32. 2 times 4 is 8, plus that 3 would be 11, 112. Now we do 28 times 10. We could do that in our head. That's just going to be 280, right? And so let's add those together. And so 2 and 0 is 2. 8 plus 1 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3. That's our answer, 392. Okay, so remember these steps that we have on the board there. You might want to write those down. If you haven't done that already, you should have written them down already somewhere, and that will help you remember them better. And it's always good to take notes. You should be writing everything that I write down. So multiply one's value by the other factor, and when you have them written vertically, that means you're multiplying the one's value in the bottom factor by that whole entire top factor, the 2 digits of the top factor. Then multiply the tens value by the top factor, and then add step 1 and step 2 together. You always think when you're multiplying a 2-digit number by another 2-digit number, you have to change that bottom number into its expanded form. 12 is 10 plus 2. 29 is 20 plus 9. 14 is 10 plus 4, and so on. Okay, well that's all for lesson 87.